What will you experience at a Knock 'em Dead comedy murder mystery show? Suspense, excitement, love, more love, violence. Well, not really. And, of course, some music. Knock 'em Dead Comedy is the #1 murder mystery troupe, entertaining thousands of people for over 20 years.
You have a great night or what? Good.
Their hilarious murder mystery shows are full of audience interaction from beginning to end that will keep you laughing all night long. Their shows are not to be missed. Knock 'em Dead Comedy's murder mystery themes include a mob show, a redneck wedding, a high school reunion, a family reunion with a luau theme, or your own custom show.
Johnny, you have a good time tonight or what?
Had an awesome time.
All right. She had a great time. KDC, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, all right.
Fundraisers, private parties, corporate events, restaurants, and more. Contact Knock 'em Dead Comedy for your event today.
The Knock 'em Dead Comedy Radio Show also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair, from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. So call Two Eagles Auto Body and ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527.
And you are watching Gov's Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes. This is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Gov Radio? Call the police. Call my agent.
All right, I'm interrupting all the opening credits and stuff so we can get started because the craziness has already begun. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Knock 'em Dead Comedy Show here on Gov's Comedy Club podcast Twitch channel. Thanks for joining us. Please follow and join the Twitch and all that stuff. And please share the link so people can watch and say hello. And, of course, we
All right,
appreciate
I have a question.
Oh, God. Here we go. Here we go.
I was going to put on my web page or my Twitter or whatever to tell people to tune us in, but I have absolutely no idea where the fuck we are, and what you just said confirmed it.
We're on Twitch.
We have an itch.
Yes.
We're on Twitch. So
Twitch.
We're not on the web. We're not on Facebook. We're not on YouTube. We're on Twitch.
I'm going to put it on
Who
YouTube.
do you have to know to see this?
You have to follow the Gov's Comedy Club podcast Twitch channel.
You have to have the Twitch app.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or go to the Twitch website. So basically, you have to be a 12-year-old playing video games, screaming the N-word at people.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
That's Twitch.
All right, so hello, I don't know any of you.
It's no different than Facebook, Instagram. It's the next big thing, and then us older folks take it over and ruin it.
Next big thing.
It's the latest up and coming.
It already was the next.
Right.
Jackie is living in the 1950s.
Do you know-
he churns his
do you
own
know
butter. That's what. And you're trying to explain the internet.
Trying my
Twitch is,
best.
Bales?
What-
Do you
what?
know what Twitch is?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Oh, did you tell your friends to listen to us on the Twitch channel?
Actually,
You wouldn't know how, would you?
He'd be
I
too
know how to
embarrassed.
Look, first of all, I know you have to get the Twitch app.
And how much does that cost?
I don't know. As soon as they say it, I'll know it.
How much you got to pay to be on the Twitch?
You don't.
Nothing.
That's what they all say.
Peter's twitching next to you right now.
I'm twitching because the Twitch. I can understand this. It's on Twitch.
Isn't this the channel where some guy made $4 million because people followed him as he delivered his garbage
Probably.
a few years ago? He had a camera on his garbage truck, and he was
Oh
delivering
yes,
garbage,
yes,
Yes.
and he made millions of dollars. And
That is
right
correct.
Then I said, "Get that word the fuck out of your lexicon." I don't want to know from Twitch, but hello. Where is he right now? Where is that?
His name is
garbage
Mike
man?
Rowe, and
Yeah, right. He's enjoying his $4 million. That's where he is right now. He doesn't have to post anything or do anything. He's enjoying that money, and
Remember
hopefully.
that joke?
Oh my God, we all are
Remember
wearing
that joke?
blue.
The Italian lady comes running out. She says, "Am I too late for the garbage?" And the guy says, "No, lady, hop in." That's a 1950s joke. You can't
right.
say that anymore. You can't say that anymore.
No, that's a perfectly good joke.
Yeah, and then I got to Michigan State, and somebody told me that joke as a Polish joke. I said, "That is not a Polish joke. That's an Italian joke." And then at about 10th year of mechanical engineering, I realized it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
It
matter.
can be anyone.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, we all are wearing blue. We look like the worst fucking softball team ever.
Yeah, and of course, they're commenting about it. We all plan on wearing
I
blue
kind
shirts
of noticed
today.
me and Tony earlier before everybody else
You have a
got here.
softball team?
No.
Yeah. Only when there's blind people around.
Yes, we did. We did that once. We played a blind softball team. We got a bunch of guys together from the station here.
And it was very embarrassing. They lost in extra innings.
Well, it was a night game.
Tony was our designated runner.
No lights. No light.
Hey, Tony,
yes, sir.
can you leave your leg on first base and then jump off and take a really big lead, and no matter if they tag you, you're still safe?
Oh, that's a good one.
I can't believe you're doing leg jokes.
Well,
That's a good one. Oh, I need some leg jokes for my stand-up.
'Cause on my
Tony
way in
does-
there, I came up with this idea, and I said, "No, I'm not going to do that."
do it.
Please.
You know,
Please
you
do.
lost your partner, you lost your girlfriend, you lost your leg. The only thing you got left is your cock.
Which isn't saying much.
Are we
And he
sure?
left that in the glove compartment.
he left that on Twitch. All right, so
Wow.
Simmer down.
Boy, am I glad we turned the microphones
I
on.
The
officially
show
wanna
has
say
started.
hello-
The
officially
show.
want to say hello to the owner of Governors and the Brokerage and McDimples or whatever it is. Joe, I'd like to say hello since you haven't answered any of my emails or texts for about 2 years. I just want to say hello.
Oh, my goodness.
I'd love to still be pals. I'm not sure what I did aside from having a podcast called Stand Up Memories with the future deceased Peter Bales.
It's generous of you to think he's watching.
Oh, yes.
Well, he owns this place.
Actually,
he owns Twitch.
We have a date. Jackie and I have a date at
Ooh.
the brokerage that we're.
Oh, okay. All right. So there you
We should
go.
be
for
plugging
dinner.
that.
No, it's not a show. We're going to dinner.
No, we do. Do you off the top remember we should plug this date?
May 6th.
May 6th at the brokerage.
Right
Siste Maya.
Right around the corner.
Governors at the brokerage officially, and
Nice.
Nice.
in Belmore, and we're just gonna have fun.
And we have a show March 4th at the Suffolk Theater, which is very exciting.
Quattro de Maya.
And they actually have the what's it called? The girl, the person that does the publicity. What is she called? Not
PR?
publicity,
The publicist?
Yeah, well, the PR girl actually contacted me. I said, "Whoa, they got a PR girl," because a lot of the places had so much trouble in the pandemic.
Right.
Like, the
Yeah.
whole staffs fell apart.
Well, yeah,
She was very excited, very nice, this girl, Meg, so she's going to promote the hell out of us. I told her,
Good.
make sure put your name in really small letters.
well, yeah, and I know the Suffolk Theater has new people running it.
It's a great.
Last guy was
so
a
many
dick.
great shows there. I love it.
Hated that guy.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm doing a show at the Triad on May 4th, and I did a podcast last night. Tell me if you remember this name, Jasmine St. Clair.
Jasmine St. Clair? No idea.
She was.
Jasmine St. Clair,
She
the
came
porn
on
star?
the Stern Show a bunch of times
Yep.
in the '90s.
Ah.
She was a porn star who was famous
Tim knew
for
it.
making a video. She set the world record
Gangbang.
for banging 300 guys.
Oh, yes.
And I think like the next week she broke her own record, or somebody broke her record. And she said,
Next
in truth,
week?
she had sex with like 3 guys, with 14 cameras going.
Yep.
But
I remember that episode.
I did an hour with her last night. She's delightful.
Really?
Oh, nice.
She was educated in London and Paris
wow.
and New York, and she was just brilliant and fun and smart. I'm like, she's a girl. I got a pussy. I can make some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calling me stupid. You know what I mean? So
I wish I
really
had a
got
pussy.
a kick out of her.
Oh, well, and didn't she share some truth about,
I didn't ask. I was going to say, but you got to the 300th guy, forget about sloppy seconds. It would have been like a Woodstock sinkhole, But my friend Jeff Lieberman gave me that joke.
So
I'd
many
like to
times
thank
when
you.
I'm
One
on
can
with,
only-
on with Jackie, I find myself asking the children to leave the room.
And that would be these guys.
Tim, you're the youngest.
Earmuffs.
Actually,
No, I after 3, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been 3rd or 4th, but having enjoyed that spot in the lineup, I know it's very friendly down there. It's
It's like walking
nobody
through a freshly shot off fire extinguisher.
All right. All right. First of all,
is it in?
all right.
Pick a wrinkle.
All right. All right. I mean,
She was so fat.
please.
How fat was she?
I actually had sex with a girl at Michigan State, and she was the size of a house. And I said, all right, I'm going to get drunk and bang this. I got really drunk, took her upstairs, and I was lying on my side having sex with Porky Pig times 10. And I heard this noise, and I looked over her, and my friend Pizza Pete was on the other side.
oh,
She had him, what's the word, when the moon's in the...
an eclipse?
She eclipsed Pizza Pete. I just couldn't believe it.
I have a graduate degree. I don't have to put up with this.
It's a
This
true
is not what
story.
goes on Stand Up
And-
Memories, I think.
We used to go to the. There was a band that we really, really loved. Me and my friend Red were at the Gables show bar, and we said, "Look, we got no money. We're hippies. We're never going to meet a girl. Let's try to pick up the band." So we picked up the band, invited them to come back and stay at our house, so they would show up once in a while. After they were done playing, and they were welcome to come in, sleep on the floor, whatever. Times are crazy. 1967, and they showed up. They showed up that night late, and I didn't know it. And I came downstairs, and the whole band, like there was 2 guys, 2 girls, they're all laid out in the living room, hanging out. I haven't thought about this in 50 years. And I was like, oh my fucking God, here are my friends, and this thing is going to come down the stairs. And I said to them, I can still remember, I said, Paul, last night I set 2 personal records. I had sex with the fattest girl I ever had sex with, and I had sex with the fattest girl I ever saw. And she came down, she like squeezed between the banister. Oh, my.
Oh, man.
They laughed so hard, my God.
Oh, man.
And she had a great personality.
I'm
She was
sure.
very nice.
Please.
Probably.
She made us all breakfast, and then she ate it. That's a true story, except the part about Pizza Pete and the fat girl.
I love Pizza Pete.
What a character!
Oh,
my God.
man, that was when you were very, very young. Your brain is not fully developed until you're 25 years old. You know?
As a man,
no,
right?
I was. That was in my wild days.
Your wild days? When did they end?
Last week.
Today.
When I did a show on Twitch.
I love the juxtaposition between the two of you. It's fantastic. It really is.
Me and Andy?
Yeah.
Yes, you and Andy, exactly.
At least my daughters aren't here this time.
Actually, Jackie is highly educated.
Yeah.
He told you he majored in engineering
Right.
at Michigan State.
We're here to have fun.
No, but
right?
I mean, you majored in engineering, and yet what did you do? This is true. To the president of Michigan State
Now,
University.
where'd you dig that up?
Yeah, but from you. And it's the truth. This is true. Listen,
I
guys.
don't know how much you know the details of this, Bales.
Well, I know enough.
There was me and my friend Tom Friesmuth, who retired 10 years ago with millions and millions and millions. He lives in San Diego. He had like 3 kids and then got divorced and then married a woman who had like 8 of her own kids. So he's got a football team. Great guy. And this other guy, Richie McGank, who at one point about 20 years ago was in charge of half of the globe for the United Nations. It wasn't UNESCO, but whatever it was called. And he was right-hand man to Kofi Annan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant, wonderful, wonderful guy. I just texted with him last week. The 3 of us had a thing we used to do when we got drunk at parties called the review. And what we'd do, we'd pull our pants down to our ankles and tuck our dick and balls between our legs, and we'd do a can. So it looked like 3 guys with vaginas, and then we would turn around and bend over so the squirrels were sticking out. And so we did a panty raid at Michigan State, and we went all the way across. We came back, got to the intramural building. There's 400 guys. Scale the wall. 10 people scaled the wall. Let's go in the pool. 1 guy went in the water. That was me. So we get out. Let's go to Hanna's house. John Hanna was the president of the university who had a house on campus called Cowell's House. And there's all these guys. And, of course, there was somebody in the crowd that was a resident assistant from one of the dorms. And I was such a loudmouth. This was only spring term of freshman year, but already I was such a loudmouth that 2 dorms over, the RAs knew who I was. And so the guy recognized me. So by the time I got back to the dorm, I was already reported. But somebody says, let's moan him. And meanwhile, the guy wasn't home. We didn't know that. He wasn't home. They said, where the guys for Snyder? So me and the head of UNESCO for the whole globe,
Right.
and the multimillionaire from San Diego went up on the steps of Cal's house and did the review. Pulled our pants down and did the whole thing. And the guys went berserk. I was the only one that got reported because nobody knew who the other 2 guys were. And then, in Silence of the Lambs,
Right.
the guy did my
Buffalo
goddamn
Bill.
review.
Would you fuck me? I fuck me. Yeah.
He stood there with
Yeah.
I was like, that's our bit. I mean, I'm sure Adam did it, just like.
Which obviously that bit is a precursor to success.
Of course
Right?
it
We
is.
should all do that right
You're
now.
on your way.
I don't think it worked out too well for Buffalo Bill, but fair.
But, So by the time I got home, they sent it wasn't an email, but it was actually a letter, and CC'd the engineering department, the dean of the dean of the engineering department, the head of the engineering department, the dean of Snyder Hall, my resident assistant, me, my parents. I mean, there were 12 people on this letter, or whatever you call it, this official
Right.
complaint. And I swear on everything that is holy, which isn't much to me, they had the word moon in the complaint.
No kidding.
I swear on my mother, says blah, 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 blah. And it was at that point that Jackie Martling went up on the steps of Cal's house, and it was in quotes, and mooned the crowd. I was like, it was an onion letter.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And I had to go stand before the board, like 12 people in suits and ties, but from the Midwest. And I'm standing there, and they're asking me, why would you do that? Now, there is no answer to why would you moon someone. There is no answer.
Right.
It's to be fucking fun. I should have mooned him right then.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you, I saw one little glimmer. This is so funny. I'm going to tell us. There was one guy, he had a southern accent, and he had a little bit of a sparkle. He saw how absolutely absurd and silly it is. I mean, all you do is read about Clooney mooning people.
Right.
And what's his name? Marlon Brando mooning people. It's fucking so silly and harmless. And so I'm going through this whole thing, and they said, all right, well, we'll let you know. And I'm like, oh, motherfucker. And then I went out and waited a couple minutes, and they came out, and I didn't get thrown out of school, but the next year I was not allowed to have a car on campus. I couldn't afford a car till 3 years after I got out of school.
Right.
So that was, quite a punishment. So I walked out, and all my friends are on the front steps. And I walked out and said, oh, man, I'm kicked out. I'm kicked out of school. And all of a sudden I go, I'm fucking around. They don't oh, God.
I would have loved if you were like, point of order, that was not mooning. I will show you what I actually did.
Well, I could see me explaining.
I want to say that when Jackie opens up like this, you guys can feel free to ask him for a copay. This is healthy for him because he's
I
out of
haven't
network.
recounted that story in 20 years. We never talked about that on the
I
show.
knew it.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's
Which that just shows how old he is.
no, but there's
Two.
a picture of Jackie in the top of a palm tree, like hanging off of. Had you, it's funny because you're partying and you're young, but had you fallen, you would have died. Probably. You could have died from that. You know the picture I'm talking about?
I'm not going to fall.
I'm drunk in the top of a palm tree. I'm not
It's
now.
1967. Me and
Picture it, Sicily.
five pals from the dorm pile into a car, spring break, and go to Fort Lauderdale. And this was at the height of the Fort Lauderdale era.
Yeah.
And it was so packed with people. And we were right at the corner of Las Olas Boulevard and A1A. And at the time, A1A was a two-way street. It's been, for 20 years, it's been two different, but it was one street, two-way street. And there were a gazillion people, and everybody was so drunk. I could still remember because we sat on the beach, and I sat cross-legged and played my guitar for a couple hours, and the inside of my legs
I know the feeling. Yeah.
was so fucking sunburned. I mean,
that's weird.
you know what Florida sunburn, like,
Yeah.
and I'm not thinking, I'm drinking. So all of a sudden, the crowd is going berserk, and all of a sudden, some fraternity guy decides he's going to go up the palm tree. So he's trying to shinny up a palm tree. I don't know if you ever touched the palm tree.
It's not
razor blades.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's razor blades, and he's trying to shinny up. And he gets a little ways, and then he slides back down. And a couple guys did this, and they were completely red, like cut to smithereens. And my friend Hoffman, whose birthday was 2 days ago, hey Hoffman, goes, Martling, go up that tree. So I went up the tree. Did you ever see a phone guy go up a tree? A phone repair guy with the?
I'm a retired phone guy.
With the
gaffs. I did that.
the things in the side of it, and they go up like an ape.
Yeah.
I went up the tree like a monkey, like this. I was a gymnast, and I'm up, boom, 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 and I was up at the top, and then held on and stuck my legs out. But I was in good shape. I was and the picture. I'll show you the picture. It's like there's thousands and thousands of people, and the guy who took the picture was on the front page of the Miami Herald. There's a bathroom, like a cement bathroom, right there. So he was standing on top of the bathroom, so it was a great angle.
Right.
And you see me with my legs sticking out. But it's so unmistakably me. I mean, you would recognize because I was skinny.
And you were in good shape. I mean, we've all seen the videos of you doing the
was so
what do you
funny.
call it? The
Sex.
gymnastics and all that
Gymnastics.
stuff.
He was a gymnast.
Yeah, thank you. That's
the
word I was
you're
having a
looking
brain
for.
fart on. Right,
When you're
right.
talking about me, you would say I was in the library club. He was a gymnast.
Yeah.
That's the picture. Show
You know,
it.
it's great to have a story like that, but how great is it to have proof?
You call
There
it
you
right
go.
up?
That's good. Nice.
Let me
That's
see-
a great
let me-
shot. Yeah.
Okay,
You can tell by the
let me see.
bulge that
Okay,
it's definitely
okay.
him.
You
Hilarious.
fall on your neck, you're dead. I'm not kidding. You don't even you acknowledge that now.
Stop
I
being.
have never thought about that till you just
Stop
said
being
it
such
now.
a hater,
Never
Peter.
went to my
You could have. Well, no. I
He's
mean,
a
I
gymnast.
I look at this picture and I can still hope.
Maybe he.
And you know what? The obvious question is, how the hell did I get back down? I think
Maybe
I
he
went
did
down.
fall, which explains a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think you
It
were
looks
trying?
like I was holding on to the.
Were you
palm
trying to
tree.
meet women? You think women are going to be? Oh, you're the guy who climbed the palm tree. Yeah,
There's all sorts of freaks out
Yeah.
there.
I'm sure the dismount was Kerry Strug-esque.
there you go. Those were the
Eastern
days.
European guys start
Those were the
carrying him
days.
around.
Yes. Bella
Stand
Caroli
up.
came out and carried Jackie away from the tree.
Those are stand-up memories. You gotta
There you
love
go.
them, right?
Yeah.
You gotta
Right.
love them.
Which, yeah, of course, stand-up memories. When does it? What is it? Mondays, Tuesdays? When does it come out?
We have a new episode.
I know you told me to try and ditch Bales, but he just shows up. I tried changing the dates of the taping.
Bales makes that show, and I will
Thank
point out
you.
too that
No,
Mike
he makes it to that show.
and Michael Zinn is a class act. He's
Michael Zinn is our guy.
Yep, he's a
We
great
love Michael
guy.
Zinn.
He's a good man. And you
Yeah,
know he did
he's a
that
great
email,
guy.
right?
Yes,
He's
I
doing
saw
the
it.
emails.
I did see that.
Our big Suffolk Theater show. And
But
our
we
big
have a
brokerage
new
show.
episode every Wednesday.
Oh, it's
We're
Wednesday. Sorry.
Yes, and we are on all the platforms except Twitch, which is so ironic.
Yeah, why aren't we on Twitch?
gotta
Well,
get-
that's why you're
You're
here.
supposed to be so
we have
smart,
to be
Bales.
on. I know. We got to get on.
Joe,
We
I
wanna
will
get
blow
on
you
Twitch.
if you put us on Twitch.
Oh, please.
Well, it's too late.
Can we
You
see
get-
that on
Do you
Here
Twitch?
you
talk
are.
to him? Do you talk to him?
Joe who?
Carletto?
The owner?
Oh,
Carletto?
Yeah. What?
You tell him I want to say hello. Tell him I will buy if he'll go to lunch with me.
What?
Wow. All right.
What?
He
Oh,
means
there's no way he'd let me.
Oh, yes, he would.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah,
right.
we opened up our flaps and we had comics come with their wives, comics come with their husbands.
Yeah, I mentioned that to you last night, Peter. How shocked I was that you actually got Joey Coler's wife on the show with
we
you
haven't
guys.
had
which-
That's a new thing.
we
And-
haven't
That's
had
cool.
any of your homos yet. Have we?
all right. All right.
wow.
A lot of what I do is called cleanup. Okay. And
I think it'd be great to have a gay guest and her husband, his wife, whatever.
how do you know we
whatever.
haven't already?
Goodness.
The look on Bale's face was my look every time
Yeah.
Mike would say something. Every time Keegan said something.
Everybody kisses pretty much the same, so I haven't been able to judge.
That's why Edison
And
invented
I
the
know
light
I'm not
bulb.
allowed to say this, but Bales doesn't know, but I've been calling around. I am trying to book some dwarfs on the show.
Oh, you know,
Pink Tie is a big charity. That's the guy that owns Tide and Media. His charity is Pink Tie, and they do huge events, and they really raise a lot of money. They got this thing where they get an actual pink tie,
Okay.
and they have all kinds of celebrities sign them, and then they sell them. Now, who the fuck wants a pink tie signed by Dionne Warwick? Not me, but somebody. So they have these big events, and one year at the event, they hired 5 or 6 dwarfs. And I'm probably the only person in the world that ever saw Winky Winky, the chocolate guy,
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
The chocolate.
But these guys were all there as the Wonkas,
The Oompa Loompas.
the Oompa Loompas.
Loompas.
And it was like, and you couldn't find them. And then I'm looking and then I looked down, and there they were, and they were all in green. They were all bright green. And they were but they were huge Stern fans, and we laughed our balls. They would be the greatest guests in the world, I'm sure.
All right.
Didn't we find a number once or a website?
There's
Sam.
a
Sam was the head. Whatever they're called.
there was a place in Jersey if you wanted to
To
have
rent.
one appear at
To
your
rent a
event.
dwarf. I think it's called Rent a Dwarf.
But it was
Have
crazy
one.
money. It was crazy money.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
This is
Have
like
one
way
up
too,
here.
way too
I
much for
hired
just
one
one dwarf.
for my niece's bachelorette party, and I got one half off.
Oh my God! You know, this is so
There
wrong
it
on
is.
so
Poor
wrong on
Peter.
so many
Oh,
levels.
that was
Poor
such
Peter.
a
The
funny joke.
It was
the
a funny
low-hanging
joke.
fruit is
I'm
so
saying,
delicious.
however, it's 2023.
I mean, he didn't call them kickables, so that's.
You know, and,
I mean, were you throwing them?
Well, he had been missing, and I found his picture on a carton of half and half.
So I want to ask you. You mentioned Stern. We have
did. I did not. I mentioned.
You said they were
Jasmine
Stern
St.
fans.
Clair.
No. You said the dwarfs were Stern fans.
Yeah, they absolutely
So
were.
speaking of Stern,
Anything
there's
he
been a
can-
guy that's been he watches a lot of our shows here. His name is Jerry.
He's the one.
He swears that he's the one that introduced you to Howard. He claims that he's been a ghostwriter. He's watching right now. He says he's Jerry from Delaware. He says that's how you would know him. And he was the Stern ghostwriter who sent tapes in from 93 to 95. But, yeah, he swears that he introduced you and Fred to Howard.
That's absolutely true.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
So you do know Jerry from Delaware?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he swears that he's written a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff. But then he goes.
I think he also wrote a real lot of Burt Bacharach songs.
Well, that's where I was going. He claims he wrote songs for Tom Petty.
Do you realize
George
you have
Harrison.
one listener, and the one listener you have hasn't got a brain in his fucking head?
We have actually several watching right
13
now.
watching right now.
Yeah, we're doing all right, right?
10.
All right, screw
Down
it.
3.
I'm going to Peter
Fred,
Bales.
all right.
Fred worked with Howard 4 years before I ever met them guys.
Right.
Right.
Fred
I
met
know.
Howard
I know.
a year before there was such thing as Robin. And
Yeah.
so that's
Thanks
right
for-
in line with his story.
thanks for
Right.
mentioning Burt Bacharach.
Burt Bacharach?
Burt Bacharach. I said,
94.
Jackie, are you sad that Burt Bacharach has passed? And Jackie goes, no, I don't like the new stuff.
See that?
See, that's funny,
Now,
Jackie.
that-
Now,
That's
Why-
funny.
why-
That's funny.
Why would you laugh at that?
So Peter Bales.
Our
Yes.
friend Red McCready
yes.
played tennis 3 or 4 times a week back in the late 60s with Hal David.
Really?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Hal David was
Okay.
a member of Muttontown Country Club,
Wow.
and Red McCready's mother was the receptionist.
Oh, Hal
at
David's a
Muttontown
Long
Country
Islander?
Club. Huh?
Hal David is a Long Islander? I did not know that.
Maybe I would assume that,
Mm-hmm.
but so many famous people live for 2 years here, and
Well, true,
my brother,
yeah.
my brother had there was a girl in my brother's 2nd grade or 3rd grade class for a couple of years who had a huge crush on him named Janie Mankiewicz, whose father was Joe Mankiewicz, whose either brother or uncle was Herman Mankiewicz that did Citizen Kane.
Mank, yeah.
And I finally did the research, and it turns out that family actually lived in East Norwich
Oh.
for the couple of years because he wrote and produced a bunch of remember Kraft Music Theater?
Yes.
Kraft Music?
I remember it.
Kraft Music Hall. So they actually lived, and,
But Red
little
McCready,
chubby girl with a mustache.
Jackie mentions Red McCready, and we all have old friends who succeed greatly. But
Sure.
Jackie once pulled into a gas station, and Red was pumping gas.
No.
I'm starting a story wrong.
Red McCready was such a hanger-on, but such my dear friend forever and ever. But he didn't have a brain in his fucking head. And at one point, because he used to help us with the equipment, I said, Red, I will pay you to be our roadie if you can ever do something that I don't have to redo. If I can ever go up and put on my guitar and play it without having to unplug everything and replug it in. He didn't have a brain in his head, but he was a hanger-on. There was a famous story where we were all at the diner. Woods told a story forever. Me and Woods and Hawthorne and the whole gang. And Red was sitting there, and I handed Red my hamburger and said, you want a bite out of my career? So
Yes.
Red moves away, and he's living in Florida, and he either called me or wrote me, what are you doing, Red? He said, I'm the cashier. I have the overnight spot as the cashier at a drive-in gas station You know this business we're in. That's what you meant.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
You know this business we're in.
Red was a great guy and a nice guy.
And such a character.
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
I got to know him even. That is great. But Jackie just mentioned a couple of classic comedians from Long Island. You know, we're doing this podcast from Governors.
Yep.
And these are hallowed halls, and a lot of people have walked these halls and been on that stage. And an incredible impressionist, over 300 pounds. You mentioned the late Bob Woods.
Oh.
And
he passed 300 pounds like it was standing still.
Yeah. And, of course, had the classic Ralph Cramden impression. And Dave Hawthorne, the most incredible improv actor I've ever seen.
Dave Hawthorne, who was around since 1971 when he was in a three-man group with Billy Crystal.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
At Nassau Community College. And opening night of Governors, you know, they called me, and me and my future ex-wife came over here, and we said, put a speaker there, put the mic here, put the sound booth up there. We'll book the comedians, blah, blah, blah. Opening night, you could not move in this place. And I think I did the opening MC, and I walked over to the end of the bar, and I smelled something. And I remember this like it was yesterday. I go walking into the men's room, and there's Woods and Hawthorne. Because opening night, I didn't book Woods and Hawthorne. Opening night, I had Bob Nelson and Rob Bartlett. And I can still remember I walked in and I said, God fucking Lord, are you donkeys smoking pot in the men's room? Because Woods would always bark that back until the day he died. God fucking Lord, are you donkeys? There was smoking pot, absolute jam place, September of 1981. And they're standing there smoking pot like a couple of,
And Governors immediately worked for comedy. It was just something about the room. Right. Seriously.
No, I know. Yeah.
Everybody was just hungry for it. It was just in the right place. Like the East Side had been open probably for a year, but that was far away.
And Governors is bigger now. Originally, the bar was in the room. The bar was across the back, and they've added to it.
The brokerage was down there, and when they decided to go from music. It was originally Corky's Music Box, then it became the brokerage when Gary bought it, and then they wanted to do comedy, and he actually hired me, and I was booking the acts at the brokerage when Governors hired me and Nancy. And then after a month or 2 or 3, Gary said, I don't want you to book the acts here anymore because you're booking better acts at Governors. And I didn't say it, but yeah, well, that's a comedy club, and this is a hole. I didn't say that. But
actually,
so much.
The brokerage is now.
Oh, now it's perfect.
Now it's a terrific. Every time I work one of the Governors clubs, I mean, and I'm not just saying this. I have a good set. I leave saying Levittown's my favorite, or Belmore's my favorite, or McGuire's in Bohemia. I mean, because they're so
McGuire.
Set up well. They're intimate.
They're set up well. The sound's good. The crowd's good.
The lights. Everything's good.
Yes.
Comedy is very delicate, but at the 3 Governors clubs, and we should say, McGuire's in Bohemia, and the brokerage in Belmore, and the flagship Governors in Levittown, they're all set up right. Lights, sound.
It's so crazy because it is such a no-brainer,
right?
And it is so easy to get it right. But they do it. But you learn that so many places don't. When we started booking this place. I always scream, we should have speakers in the back. Because the idea is if you're sitting there, if they're reinforced with speakers behind you, the clearer the comedian is, the better the show is.
Right.
There's no denying that. But they never put speakers in the back. They just had 2 huge speakers on either side of the stage, it worked. And then I showed up one weekend and the speaker was out. And I said to Joe or whoever was running the Jimmy, you got to fix that speaker. All the comedian has going for him is what he's saying. And the people over here have to hear it from over there. You got to fix it. We show up the next week. It's still not working. I went, what the fuck are you doing? Then we had the Governor's Christmas party, and they gave me and Nancy, my girlfriend, the Governor's Piss and Moan Award. Because we're such big complaints. We're trying to get the sound system fixed so that people can hear the comedians. And we're here they go, complaining again. I wasn't complaining about my dressing room not having M&Ms. You know,
Right.
So that was but that was then. And this
I'm sorry I wanted you to be successful.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah, I mean, but comedy is delicate. It has to have certain basics: sound, lights. Everybody has to be comfortable. It can't be cold or hot in the room.
You know, something interesting that I've found is that there's so much
you
more.
Just tell us, and we'll decide if it's.
But there's a lot of comedy being performed outdoors nowadays since COVID and whatnot. Like, and I was always told that it's anathema to have comedy outside.
Anathema.
Anathema.
What's that mean?
Anathema is the word.
It is anathema, yes.
Antithetical. It
It's
doesn't
not
work.
a cough disease.
What he's saying
It's
is,
not a
and he's
coughing
right.
disease?
And I bailed on saying antithetical.
No, I know.
But yes.
Antiseptic, I know.
No, it's anathema.
Anticlimactic.
Yes. No, you're right. It can work, but it is challenging.
But
You're
I'm seeing that
absolutely-
there's a lot
Yes.
now.
No, I know, but it can work.
Comedy outdoors is fucking without a hard on. You could do it, but good luck.
That's fucking jamming gum
Well,
in a
that
lock.
pretty much clarifies everything, Jackie. Thank you.
Well, I think we're done here.
No, comedy outside.
anybody-
Even in a tent.
Right.
Even in it's just
Right.
too hard.
Even in comedy clubs, you want the low ceiling. A high ceiling is has actually sunk comedy clubs like Governors up
when
in
it first
Connecticut.
opened, they booked me at that Paramount. It sucks.
Right.
I mean, I had a nice time. I had a decent crowd, but it's a barn.
So
I'm like,
high, yeah.
all the money they put into that. I went to see Willie Nelson there. I was like, you can't. It's bouncing around, you know. But it's been
Well,
the same.
the low
They're
ceiling-
so ridiculously successful. Like, shut up, Jackie. What the fuck do you
But
know?
a low ceiling is best for comedy clubs because the laughs are just
Absolutely.
reverberating around the room.
Plus, if you throw a pencil, it'll stick in, which is always cool. You know. I'll tell you, one
Fun
of the
is
greatest,
fun.
one of the greatest things that ever happened in my experience here at Governor's, there was this absolutely wild man named Lenny Schultz. That most people, even when they heard of him, hadn't heard of him. And he was famous for 2 minutes. He was on the second installment of Laugh-In that lasted about 5 seconds, him and Robin Williams. But he was so wild and so crazy, and he got booked all over the place, and he wound up being a very dear friend. So I book him at Governor's. And he was one of these guys that had a truckload of crap. He just brought in a truckload of props and loaded the stage with them, and he'd pick something up and use it for like one line. But he was absolutely out of his mind, and he had a very nice wife that labored and helped him, and he either divorced her or broke off with her and had a brand new young girlfriend who was just so hot.
And
so
I know
beautiful.
who you're talking about. She was wonderful.
Her name is Sharon.
Yep.
So the way he worked is Helen, but then Sharon would be in the sound booth. And he would signal, and they'd put in a cassette and play whatever it was. And he'd do what, like one in particular, he had a cassette that played You Light Up My Life by Debbie Boone.
Right.
And he looked up, and Helen would play You, and Debbie Boone would start singing You Light Up My Life, and Lenny would take an 8x10 of Debbie Boone and set it on fire with the lighter. I just don't know. It was just so outrageous. So he's on stage at Governor's, and he kills. He kills the crowd. And he gets done, and I go, run up on stage. Oh, Lenny, stay. I go, what do you think? What do you think of Lenny? Blah, 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 blah. And he's pretty new with Sharon. Helen's just gone. He's got Sharon. And the sound booth, I don't know whether it's still, but here's the stage, and in the upper right corner was the sound booth where you could look out and see. Who wants to hear a little more Lenny? Want more Lenny? And the crowd cheer, yeah. A little bit more Lenny. He goes, yeah. I said, good, Lenny Schultz. And he looks up, and he points, and he looks up, and he turns to the crowd, and he said, I forgot my fucking girlfriend's name. She's gonna cut my balls off. I swear to God.
Can I tell
I
Lenny?
forgot my fucking.
Can I tell a Lenny Schultz story?
Please.
Jackie, have you heard this? I was not there, but I've heard it from like 5 people. This story's been around forever. Somehow Lenny Schultz is booked New Year's Eve at a North Shore country club. A bad booking. But he is booked New Year's Eve at a North Shore snobby country club. And he's introduced and he walks out on stage and there's a drunk woman down front. And before he can even start, she says something rude to Lenny. And Lenny leans over the front of the stage right on top of this woman and says, "Lady, sit down and shut up or I'll rip your tits off." And he stands up, and 2 guys from the back are really angry, start walking towards the stage. And Lenny apparently just turned around, walked off stage, out the side door to his car, and went home. No show.
Wow.
That I have no idea if that's
balls.
true. But
I
I'm
heard
sure
it.
it's
I've
true.
heard it over and over again. That story.
Amazing.
All right.
Who's this?
One and
That's
only
Lenny Schultz
That's Lenny Schultz.
on stage at Governor's.
Lenny
Show
Schultz.
Hang on. There we go.
He, of course, was the bionic chicken.
Oh, wow. Look at that picture. What the hell is
Have
that?
you ever seen this, Bales?
That's Lenny. That's the young
They would play
Lenny.
an Italian opera song, and he put in teeth and a wig, and in time to the music, he would take spaghetti from a bowl and throw it at his face. I mean, it's just, and that's the proof right
fucking
there.
hilarious.
This is not somebody you would talk to about crafting a setup and a punchline. Take
This is
the
a guy
bowl-
you could be in line to catch a rising star for 3 hours, and 2 minutes before you go on, he goes up and does a half hour of, he had, remember marching clitorises and they juggled water, and oh my God.
Another legendary Lenny Schultz story, which is in that comedy history book. Who's the guy? It featured Robert Klein. It was a great comedy history book. He was suspended for 2 weeks from the original Improv on 9th Avenue, 44th and 9th, for deliberately vomiting on stage.
My goodness.
Have you heard about that?
No,
it's in the book.
Is this Phil, what's his name?
Phil Berger.
Phil Berger.
Yeah.
Hell of a credit.
Good.
Yeah.
Hell of a credit.
I think he originally was a writer for Good Times Magazine.
Could
way
have been.
back until he wrote that book.
But I mean, imagine a suspension. But imagine deliberately vomiting.
That's I've never heard that.
Imagine only 2
more
weeks.
disgusting.
And then suspended for 2 weeks. Well, I think
even if you take a dump, it doesn't make other people need to dump.
Right.
But the smell of vomit,
Yeah.
one of the most
Encourages.
creative things.
when Bales smells like vomit, I usually leave the room and don't come back until he brushes his teeth. Right?
Oh, the
Tell the
irony
truth.
of that comment, Jeff. The irony of that comment.
Very rich.
Now, what's irony? Is that the same as anathema?
Now, listen. I want to tell you guys this. This is one of the creative things I've ever seen at a comedy club.
You just tell it and we'll decide.
All right. Remember the guy on Taxi? Okay.
Which one?
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. All right. He comes into the Improv late, and there's still audience there, but even some audiences they've left. And he comes in, it's late, and people know him because from Taxi, and it's Andy Kaufman. And he walks up on stage, he walks to the microphone, and he looks at the audience, and he goes, 100 bottles of beer on the wall, 100 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 99 bottles of beer on the wall, and he keeps going. And people are laughing because it's so stupid. And he goes down through the 90s, and people are laughing less. And he's in the 80s. They're still laughing, but he's laughing less. They're laughing less. He goes into the 70s. People are now getting angry because he's just going to keep
I can't
going.
imagine how angry they were, because think how angry we are listening to the story.
Well, I gotta tell you, but then he gets into the 60s and the 50s, and he does famous people impressions doing 50, Elvis, 57 bottles, and he keeps going, and then he gets down into the 30s and the 20s, And now the audience is like, go, you got to finish this. You got to finish this. And he's going very fast, and then he's down in the teens, and he's down below 10. Go. And he gets down to 2. He does 2 bottles of beer alone, and then he goes, you don't want me to finish this. and he walks off, and the whole audience just goes, oh my God. Now that's not even comedy. That's performance art.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I thought you were going to say I forget the words.
Yeah, right.
That is just way over the top.
It takes about 20 minutes to sing the song.
And I'd like to know how do you know that?
I timed it one time, and when I didn't have a watch, I would sing 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall and the Jeopardy theme to fill whatever time, because that's exactly 30 seconds.
Can I just say that's
really
very strange?
Yeah.
You're strange.
And you wonder why you didn't have any friends at the time?
I was waiting for
Drink or masturbate. Pick one or the other. What's wrong with you?
I don't know whether it's the bottle of beers on the wall or watching Jeopardy, but you were in trouble.
You mentioned before with the setup, premise, punch, and all that. In teaching your stand-up,
Oh, thank you.
do you ever come across somebody like that, and you have to kind of shift what you're teaching them?
Yes, thank you for the chance to plug Stand Up University.
Of course.
That is Tuesday nights at the Brokerage, standupuniversity.com.
49 minutes.
And we...
It took you 49 minutes to get to your
Yeah,
point.
usually I...
On our podcast, it's usually an average of 7
Well, he is wearing the
shirt.
shirt. He's wearing a sweater,
wearing a
so it's actually
sweatshirt that
been
says
since.
Stand Up U.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
we on video too?
Stand Up
Oh, yeah.
University.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't have a camera.
Standupuniversity.com.
How come I don't have a camera, Bales?
You got
No, you do.
cameras.
This is the
There's
feed.
5 cameras. 4 of them are on you.
Once he goes to this one or this one, you're in tighter. So
But he has his own.
What are you worried
You
about?
have your own.
I do.
This is horse's shit.
That's the only one that's not on you.
1,
Is
2,
his.
3 that go on.
Thank you for letting me get my plug in.
100
Sorry, yeah,
beer
sorry,
on the
Phil. Go
wall.
ahead.
This guy
100
Martling. 100 bottles of beer. Standupuniversity.com. It's a place where comedians go to start out in stand-up comedy, which is very, very difficult.
Highly recommend it.
Thank you. Jackie started out in a band doing jokes in between songs.
That's only because there was no standupuniversity.com. So I had to play music.
But, yes.
Otherwise, I would have signed up for standupuniversity.com.
Of course.
With my rich friend that lived one town over in Locust Valley.
I was not rich. I was in the regular suburban house in Locust Valley where
There is no such thing in Locust Valley.
There is actually
Regular suburban
There's
house
a
in Locust
normal-
Valley. I lived in a little hole in Beverly Hills. Jesus Christ.
But you're right. We do teach
Only
topic.
one thing worse than rich people are rich people that don't tell you that they insist that they are not rich.
Yes.
Well, we all know rich people who are cheap.
Who are what?
Cheap.
Yeah, like that won't buy lunch, you mean?
I'll get the next one.
Physician heal thyself.
Tell him what I got you for Christmas.
He got me a mug, and on the mug it says, "I'll get the next one." Because that's what I always tell him when we're out to lunch.
I got to learn those secrets to get how you got him to pay for lunch. That's what I
Tony
want
always
to know.
buys my lunch because I fixed him up with his girl that left him.
But what we're trying to
It
say,
turns out she's a wild woman, and he's already replaced. I can't even get her phone number.
all right,
It's really
look at
bullshit.
you, you're torturing the host.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, so topic.
No, he don't care. It was his idea.
No, I know. Now,
He
yes,
found his true sexual, let's not go into it. All of a sudden, let's just say men's locker rooms are a little different to Tony now.
Oh, my God.
all right.
What once was a place to take a leak is now like paradise.
We're going back to talking about gangbangs now.
No,
Oh, that's no way to talk about his ex-girl.
Let's talk about him.
No, let's go back to stand-up university.
no. Let's go back to Tony Gay in the gym. What are you doing, Jackie?
I'm flirting with the guy.
No, but Tony mentioned topic, premise, punchline, and we do teach that. But you know what we teach more than anything to comics? We said this, I was talking to Tony last night here.
Yeah.
If it works, leave it in.
Right.
And there are rules in comedy, but they're also made to be broken. And if somebody
But
wants
that,
to
isn't
be...
that a sex rule too?
Yeah, you're right. We went 20 seconds without mentioning
Leave it
sex.
in.
If it works, leave
Leave it in. That's actually very funny. I can't complain about that one. That was a good
The
one.
begrudging admission was, I think, the highlight of the show.
That was a
If
genuine.
that wasn't a stamp of approval, I've never heard it.
that was a genuine funny ad lib, and I wish I thought of it.
You're throwing
But I
enough
didn't.
shit at the wall.
If it works, leave it. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to take it and say it's mine. All right, you know mine.
Well, you can't use the one I gave you 30 years ago anymore.
Well, actually, I still do Jimmy Carter jokes, and I'm proud. It's still in my act. But Jackie is a joke teller, and in Jackie's jokes, you can identify a topic, a premise, and a punchline, and he'll tell you the punchline gets the laugh, and you got every word matters, every breath matters, and I'm complimenting Jackie, but I mean it. I mean I really mean it. He's the best joke teller on the planet.
Yeah.
And it's we do shows together, and I'm more of a comedy material kind of guy, talking about things that people can relate to, and I'm vulnerable because I believe it's best for comedians to have the joke on you.
Yes.
And I have a great time, and then Jackie comes on, and I can't do what he does. I'm not a very good joke teller. I can't tell his jokes the way he tells them.
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I know a lot of comics who say I'm not a good. You
I'm
think
not,
a comedian
yeah.
would be a good joke teller, but it's hard to get him right.
I don't have that kind of recall either. The recall is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Jackie
It's a very weird thing, but it wasn't, in the beginning when I started doing this, right around when I met Bales, I was in a band and we told jokes forever, but I told jokes my entire life. So I just decided to try taking my act onto the comedy stage, which didn't even really exist yet. But it wasn't, when people first heard about me, like the guys in the city and whoever, I was the guy from Long Island that told jokes. They thought I went and bought a book and learned some jokes and went on stage and told them, which couldn't have been further from the truth. And I'd say, listen, go buy a joke book, pick out 10 jokes, and go up on stage and tell them.
Right.
And when you get halfway through the first joke and you look out there and you're terrified and you realize nobody's going to laugh, maybe you realize, because what I do wasn't not by design, but it was organic. I had told the jokes my entire life, so I innately know how to tell it and why. It's like if you're a kid and your father throws the ball back and forth with you, you're going to be a better ball player than somebody who picks it up in 12th grade.
Right.
And I just had always done that and always laughed and always really, really enjoyed it. So it wasn't a means to an end. It was a means to a laugh.
Right.
And it's a whole different thing, and it is tricky because you see people go up on stage and tell a joke and not get a laugh, and I can't even describe how it feels, because I tell people, go ahead. Mark Schiff, we're doing a gig out. Jerry Stanley was a booker way back in the early 80s, and we're watching a show, and Mark Schiff was having trouble on stage at Freddy's, way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. Pleasantville.
And all of a sudden, he just told, now I can't say one of my jokes, because none of them are my jokes. They've been around forever. But he told one of my jokes, but he told it exactly as I told it, and it got a laugh or whatever. But to me, at the time, everybody's screaming about, this is when comedy was first getting going. People said, that's my idea to do Star Wars.
Right.
No, it's not,
Parallel thought,
right,
and whatever, yeah.
Parallel development.
And to me, him telling the joke exactly with the same little interspersed things and the same idea, the same mimicking, to me, that's as much stealing. That was like stealing my personality, which was and people would fight me all day on that, and they tell me I'm crazy. But it's really a weird thing, and I tell people, go on stage and try and tell some jokes, and you'll see how it gets lonely real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. I sometimes I go up and if I'll bomb, if I'm working to, I did a show for, 50 guys that had just played golf all day and they were drinking. They were old Italian guys and there was priests in the audience and they were all spread out. You start telling jokes. The jokes don't work if people don't listen.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no magic. When you
Right.
shut up, the laugh isn't automatic. They got to be paying attention.
Right.
And you realize, wow, it makes you appreciate when it does work,
Right.
Got to wake you right up.
And as part of Jackie's act, he used to do, you could do it again, this thing called Stump the Joke Man,
Right.
where people have the setup and he gets the punchline. Virtually impossible to stump Jackie, but it has been done.
That reminds me.
It had been done so many times, but I just got such a kick out of the whole thing because it's so foolproof.
Right.
Because I would have the girls on stage and have the guys in the audience, and they'd stand up and they'd say, sit down, blah, 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 sit down. And I would know all the jokes, and the crowd would go nuts. But then somebody would do one that I didn't know, and they would go even crazier.
Right.
It was a no-fault insurance.
And
bit.
did they get a prize if they stumped you?
I had so much shit,
Right.
Stump the Joke Man T-shirts and mugs, and and if it was a good joke, I'd give him all kinds of.
I was
crap,
at a show when he was stumped. I'm going to set you up for this. I'll start it. About what goes up and down. He's a Stump the Joke Man.
On the Stern Show. We were the first people that advertised Nutrisystem.
Right.
Okay, so Howard said, we really need somebody to do this, to help us sell this product, and I was fat, I had a beer belly, and I said, I'll do it. So of course right away he's like, yeah, like you got any willpower, like you could ever do anything like that, which of course got my back up. I was like, all right, motherfucker, I'll do it. So I went and lost the weight in half the time. It was supposed to work as a live spot for them for a long time. And I didn't get paid anything extra the first time, and it helped so much. And I'm swimming in Bayville in April, and lost all the weight, and of course gained it all back. And then a couple years later, I'm going to do the Rascals Comedy Hour, and they said, we need somebody new. I said, all right, I'll do Rascals, I'll do Nutrisystem again, but I got to get paid. So I think they gave me like $3,000, $5,000, or whatever. And I lost all the weight, and it's so great because they videotaped all the Rascals Comedy Hour, And I have the entire season, 40 episodes of Rascals Comedy Hour. And I started out at 172 pounds. And they had a guy fluff up my hair. And I was a rail. And if you watch those shows, it's like each week, it's like somebody's blowing me up by the end. I'm the size of a house again. And then it happened again a couple years later. And I lost another 20 pounds.
Right.
So here I'm at Club Benet, and I'm playing Stump the Joke Man, and I'm killing. And this guy, I'm still there. There's 700 people. I'm getting $25 a head. I'm getting all the cash. I'm like in heaven. And this guy way in the back corner goes, "What goes down but always comes back up?" And I'm like, the simplest joke. And I'm like, motherfucker. And of course, it's 700 screaming Stern fans. So they listen to every second of every show.
Right.
And the guy yells, "Your fucking weight." And I'm telling you, the place, it was as loud a roar as, laughing, but laughing at me, but laughing with me. It was just spectacular. Another time a guy at this place, oh God, this shithole in Jim Balatzos was another booker. And this place called the Upper Deck. And it was a real hole. And it was one of those places where the bar has all the knickknacks behind it, and, the gathered over the years. And I'm doing the show, and some guy in the back, I said, "Oh, you?" And he goes, "Where's your license plate?" And I figure it's a trick joke, right? And I go, "All right, I give up." And he goes, "Right here!" And he ran out the fucking door. And then like a couple weeks later, people are saying, "Yeah, I saw your license plate. It's behind the bar."
I had fun. It was a club on a Lake of Patcong. And I could host the show there, and in between the acts, sit on the dock and listen to the show and dip my feet in the water.
Oh, cool.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah, Lake of Patcong.
Lake of Patcong.
Central,
It was a
Central Park, I think it was called. I remember, because my opening act working there was Brett Butler.
Brett Butler.
Oh, wow.
Brett Butler, who went on to do a lot of
She
television.
came and went.
Yeah.
I think she died, right?
Did
She
die?
did? I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
think so.
Brett Butler.
She came, but she got red hot for a while.
Yeah, she was.
She had that
she
TV
was-
show for a
she
while,
did.
yeah.
Brett Butler.
She was like a Southern gal, right?
Great. Grace Under Fire, is that it?
I believe
Is that-
so.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that's it.
You know, I worked at the upper deck with
Still alive.
Otto and George.
Oh,
Otto
wow.
and legendary. We should
Yep.
tell
Yeah.
the audience, a legendary ventriloquist who was filthy and funny
Yeah.
and wrong and fun. What he did was Springtime for Hitler. He was so bad
Yeah.
he was good,
Right.
which is advanced comedy. You know,
Lennon liked them, right? Loved them. Didn't John Lennon love?
is that true?
I
Yeah,
believe so. I
Yep.
think so, yeah.
Is that's amazing.
Yep.
Well, everybody loved him. I mean,
He wasn't even so good. He was so bad. He was good. He was so good. He was so bad. He was great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Great.
mean,
like
amazing.
Frightening.
But he had his demons, and I gave him a ride home from Western New Jersey, like a Patcong, and we're heading towards, New York City. And I said, where do you want me to drop you off? Where do you live? And he goes, just drop me off under the George Washington Bridge.
Shit.
Wow.
3:00 in the morning, because he wanted.
Yeah,
fire.
yeah.
He had his
Oh,
demons.
shit.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not going to say, Peter, wait for me while I get my heroin.
Yeah.
This might be a minute.
I was
I'm
always so
sorry.
proud because I gave him a line that he used in the movie Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen. We did a movie in 1990, and I think everybody got famous but me. It was Tim Allen, Bill Hicks, Chris Rock, John Fox. It was just 12 of us, and it was great. You want to talk about a comedic nightmare? I was 36th. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
The way we shot it at the Cherry Lane Theater, or Minetta Lane Theater on whatever in the Village, and the way they shot the movie, it was 7-minute film canisters. So what happened was there was 12 of us, and Rick Messina says, "Well, Jackie, I got to put Tim Allen on 4th because there's a booker from Disney that might be interested in him." And meanwhile, the rest is history. So I went 12. I was 12th in the lineup. Mike Egan came up, warmed up the crowd, so the host, Ben Creed, could come on and introduce the first comic. Then they changed the film canister, and then Mike Egan got everybody up to speed. Ben Creed went up and introduced the second comic, and the second comic came out, times 12.
Right.
So I was the 36th stage change that they saw. It's like 3 a.m, but it's just a spectacular time. But Otto and George was one of the acts, and he did a joke where he said, "She was so fucking fat, I was getting ready to fuck her, and she spread her legs, and a Greyhound bus came driving out of her cunt."
Oh, my goodness.
And I gave him the line. He says, "And the driver had a clothespin on his nose." I was so proud to get a line in that filthy act. And you can rent that or buy that movie, Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen. It's out on DVD. So funny, when it first came out on DVD, they had a picture of, I guess, a big picture of Tim Allen, and then a smaller picture of Chris Rock, and a smaller picture of me. And over the years, now, if you buy it, there's a big picture of Tim Allen, a smaller picture of Chris Rock, and there's a teeny picture of my head down in the corner. It's like so insulting.
What is it called? Comedy what?
Comedy's Dirtiest
Dirtiest
Dozen.
Dozen.
Yeah, it might be
Yeah,
right there on
remember
the
that.
internet.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah.
I think it's on Amazon.
It was so funny.
But there's a certain genius. Everything Otto and George did was wrong.
Right.
That you can't say that. It's too dirty. It's too mean. And yet, it was, like I said, advanced comedy.
Yep.
It was Mel Brooks. It was Springtime for Hitler.
He
It
was the
genius,
comic.
Genius. And comics knew it.
They put him up at the East Side Comedy Club. No comic could get up in front of all the comics and do comedy, and they put Otto and George on for for the Christmas party, and it was like, he actually went to the trouble of cutting the flap of the top of the dummy's head so the flap would open up, and it was all red. And he said, "This is my impression of November 22nd, 1963. And he'd go, pow! And he'd jerk the dummy, and the flap would go back. It was so, you can't even, that's wrong right now, that's wrong 40 years later. Like, holy Christ. But the trouble that he had to go through.
I know. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this is the business you have chosen, you guys.
Stand-up memories.
Now, where are you from? You haven't said a fucking word.
I haven't said a fucking word. I'm just listening. I'm from Suffolk County. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'm right. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
What year is it out there?
It's about 05.
What town in Suffolk?
I'm from Sayville.
All right. I'm from a nice area.
Oh, all right. Fair enough.
North Shore. Northport.
I'm a North Shore guy.
Originally from Locust Valley.
Yeah, originally from the rich area. He moved to a place that's just about as rich.
No, come on.
Northport?
Right.
Village of Northport
Village of
or
Northport
Hamlet?
is nice. No.
Right.
Yeah, Northport is nice.
No,
Northport's
listen.
very nice.
It's
also
actually, I
Brigadoon.
should say I lived in Northport, got divorced, remarried, now live in East Northport, and one more bad relationship, and I'm going to be in Brentwood, which is, gang related.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is so much
Well,
fun. I'm having fun.
Yeah, we have a good time, we're glad you guys are here. And I actually, like a host. What?
You're buying lunch.
I figured by now that goes without saying.
Listen, I'll get the next one.
Done it so much.
Tell Bales what happened with the waitress.
Do you know she's Rita? She's passed. She's
Oh my
she's
God.
passed on.
What?
She's passed on. She's no longer here. She's dead.
She is an ex-Rita.
It's
What do you?
it's
We had a waitress.
it's a very
no
funny
more.
story.
It's going to be a while on your drinks,
But
is
this got
basically.
nothing to
Sounds
do.
like the ending is not that fun.
But it's nothing to do with her.
Okay.
They took me there to lunch after I did one of these hellhole shows, and we went and had lunch. And the waitress was fun. And I was making jokes with her and
Jeannie.
being rude and being sexy, and it was really fun. And somewhere along the line, I heard her name. I thought. So then, being me, when I got home, I took the address of the diner and wrote her name and sent my filthy, filthy joke book
The one with his
her
bare ass on the
name
cover.
at that address. And it turns out the name that I heard was not the waitress's name. It was the cashier's name, who was a staunch Catholic.
Big, like going to church every single day. Had 5 crosses
She
around her neck.
opens up my disgustingly dirty joke book, which that's a true story, right?
True story. Well, it was worse than that. She didn't know who he was. So when she got the book, she didn't know it was the guy that came in. She didn't know who he was, publicly. So she freaked out. And this was at this time. I mean, this was
Thinking
only
maybe she had a stalker or something like that.
I don't know what she thought. I mean, this is a woman at that time was in her late 70s, never married in her life.
Jesus.
She grew up with 4 brothers. I mean, always wore clothes, up to her neck, and I mean, very staunch, serious Catholic. She had no idea where this came from. She freaked out. This poor lady was a mess.
Want to hear the PS to the story?
I do. I'm trying to absorb all this. What I'm understanding is Jackie's
I fucked
joke
her.
book was. Oh my God!
I was just going to say. Anal?
I fucked her. No, you got to respect.
No, this joke book was so dirty that her health actually started to decline.
It was the beginning of the end, as they say.
That waitress was not that old.
No, Rita was that
Rita.
old. She's now passed.
What about the cashier?
Yeah,
cashier
that's
Rita.
Rita.
Rita is
That's
the
Rita,
cashier.
the cashier who freaked out over the book.
Jackie, the one that
Is
you
dead.
the one
Yes.
that, the
But
one
the
that you
waitress isn't
killed.
dead.
No,
No,
Oh,
Jackie,
thank God.
Rita.
Never mind then.
the one that you killed is
Hold
Rita,
on,
Rita.
hold on. So we're gonna have that same waitress?
Yes, I'm assuming. I actually haven't been there in a few months, but I'm assuming you will get.
I
the same
thought you
waitress.
meant our waitress. Was
No.
dead.
Rita, the one who received the book, she's gone.
She's buried with it now.
So Rita is not the name of the waitress.
No, Jeannie is the waitress. This is what happened. This is why the book went.
This is why I got so mixed
Right,
up.
when we were walking out that day, I remember it very well. We were walking out, and I yelled, "Bye, Rita," and you were right next to me. So, because Rita was at the cashier, so I just, "Bye, Rita." So that's probably when you thought our waitress was Rita.
So I'm a suspect.
You are a suspect. I wasn't there. The audience watching wasn't there, but they understood Rita was the cashier before you did.
Fortunately, as she's flipping out, one of the people there for lunch is a buddy of mine, Greg, who I've known all my life. He's been there when I've brought you there, so he put two and two together and said, this must have been Jackie's mistake. He's been in here. He had to tell her who you are. The whole works. But yeah, that was I thought it was a classic story.
Bottom line, I was doing something. I thought I was doing something
nice.
A mitzvah, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't
The
work
road
out.
to hell.
Yeah, you were doing something nice. Sending a joke book to a waitress that you wanted to, what.
Well, hey, if she was that weak, aren't we all stronger
That is
by
fair.
not having her?
Obviously, she
herd
was hanging
mentality.
on by a fucking thread. So, and she knew
Sometimes
where
the
she
baby
was,
turtle doesn't make it to the ocean.
She knew where she was going. One of those turtles that didn't make it. Those poor little motherfuckers. You just want to go over them with a lawnmower.
You have a
Like
great...
Caligula. You ever see Caligula?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With all the heads and
Yep.
God.
Well, thank you, Jesse.
So anyway, I'm talking about Peter Bales. I did my research as I should.
Oh, wow.
RateMyProfessors.com.
Oh, no.
Rate my
Oh, no.
professors.
Well, Peter is a professor.
Rate.
College professor.
Oh,
Yeah.
rate.
Rate.
Said rape.
Oh, no. Rate.
Rate.
Rate your professor. Have you looked at this?
I have not, no. I've heard about it.
Wait a minute.
It's all good
This is
stuff.
online?
Yeah, it's a
So I
website.
used to be bigger than
I
it
can
is now.
rate him?
Yes, you
Yes.
can you
Oh,
can
my
rate
goodness.
Peter on rateyourprofessors.com.
Thank you.
Now,
Tuck that away.
this is all the truth. 82% would take your class again.
Wow.
The
Hey.
top
Obviously, they got nothing out of the first time.
Oh, okay.
your top badges: hilarious, amazing lectures, and respected.
Oh, that's very nice.
Which makes sense to me because that's exactly how you're seen here at Governor's.
Yep.
And I
then,
will endorse that without making a joke about it.
Absolutely.
He's great. He's good at what he does.
Yep.
And
That's
this-
why we're working together, because
this
he's
is-
brilliant
thank
and he
you.
can take a joke.
Thank you.
And
I
he's
can
gonna
take a
die
joke.
before me.
Okay. And now, thank you.
Whose hair is grayer?
and there's
Definitely his.
There you
Mine.
go.
and there's a bunch of reviews. I probably looked at 20 to 30. I found one negative. The rest of them are raving. Took them for a summer term, and I highly recommend. 4 exams total, which are 3 or 4 essays each. Sounds like a lot, but all you got to do is watch and take detailed notes of the lecture, and then answer the essay question. He's really clear about what points he wants written in the essay, and it's an easy 100. He's funny, and his lectures weren't too long.
Wait,
Yes.
I never knew that this is like homework and
No. They have to. It's college. They have to prepare for exams, to write essays and answer short essay questions about American history and government. You could not handle it.
oh, this is not stand up. This is not stand up.
No, I'm talking about
No, he's
rate-
talking about his
Jesus
day job.
Christ.
I'm talking about his real. Yeah.
You didn't make
University-
that very clear.
Rate your professor. Oh, you thought I was talking about rate your professor? Well, I guess you could. I guess you could rate your professor.
Then
for
we
the
move
comedy
into
class.
rape your professor.
Yes.
Now it becomes rape your professor.
RateYourProfessor.com is a website, and students put reviews on there.
Right.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not
Well,
scientific.
That's great. I thought
Right.
this was comedian.
It's not
No.
scientific because
You think comedians could put together that many words?
It's just like Wikipedia.
Well, I gotta
Anybody
tell you-
can write anything they want.
That's right.
True.
I mean, do you know how many times I logged on to write those nice reviews about myself?
Yes. It was actually started by the kid that fucked Mary Kay Letourneau. So.
Oh my God!
I'm going to read one more.
Hold on. Who are you talking about?
Whatever that kid's
Philly-
name was. Remember the
something or other.
yeah, I forget what his name is.
He's like a Pacific Islander.
You remember the
named-
teacher from
first
Seattle, the
teacher
first
that
teacher
fucked
that
with
was
the kid.
yeah, and then she went to jail and then got out.
He
and
was
they
a
ended up-
sixth grader.
Smart?
No, she
No.
was the hot one. No,
Seattle?
Mary.
Mary Kay Letourneau, which it was Portland. I want to say Portland
Yeah,
or Seattle,
somewhere
somewhere in
out
that
there.
lane.
And didn't she bang him and she went to jail?
She went to jail.
She got out and
married
back
him.
to jail. But when she went back to jail because she met him in a car, she went out, got out for parole.
Right.
And they caught her in a car down by the fucking wharf or whatever, fucking in a car.
That kid was slinging dick.
Why?
apparently.
But now they're divorced, aren't they?
Why wouldn't let them?
She's dead.
Oh, she's
Yeah,
dead.
she died a
She
couple
died.
of years ago. Cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Jackie sent her a joke book.
She
Fucking
died.
serial killer.
How old? By the time she got out of prison, I'm not going to laugh at this joke. By the time she got out of prison, how old was he?
He was still in high school. He was like 15 or something like that because he was
first
12.
time.
The first-
he was
yeah.
12 when
Yeah.
she fucked him the first
Right.
time
Yeah.
because he was in 6th grade. Or
But when she got out for good, I think he
He's
was in his
got to
early
be
20s,
pretty
right?
popular on social media.
I
this
would
kid.
think so.
I don't know.
Did he ever go to jail?
No, because he was underage.
Yeah.
The original Johnny Fucker Faster.
Yes.
You know, I have nothing to add to that. What do I say?
Holy.
But thank you.
Professor
But
Bales is
how old
literally.
was she when she died?
I think she was in her 60s. She's not that much older than
Nah,
me.
she wasn't that much. Yeah.
Oh,
I think
She
late
might
50s.
be just a little bit
Yeah, I
older.
was
Died while
thinking
she was in prison?
no, she was out.
She got out.
She got out. She married him.
They married.
Yeah.
Then they divorced.
They
and-
did divorce, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Anyway,
cancer.
Peter's a
And
great
he went
professor.
back to school.
And then he finished his GED.
Do you want every detail of this crime?
Well, I'm thinking if he went back to school looking for pussy.
All right.
Professor Bales literally might be my favorite professor ever. Ever's in capitals. He has been better than any professor from even my 4-year, and you can't help but love the class because of his passion for history. He is so naturally funny and explains all the topics perfectly. He made me so interested in the 1950s, and overall, I miss his class so much.
Do you remember
That's very
writing that
nice.
one?
That's
That was the negative
I
one?
think we now are
No, I
these
didn't read the
classes
negative
that
one.
you teach.
These are history classes I teach for the City University of New York, and I do passionately believe in using humor and not needing to take history so seriously.
Are
Sure.
any of these classes online, or do
Actually,
they go
since
up on the web
since
when
the
you're doing them?
pandemic, we had to go online. I do both online and I do in person.
So your course is actually online somewhere.
Yeah, definitely it is. But you can't just watch it. You have to sign up for it and register. And
But all this made sense to me because every time I see you here, we have great conversations, and even last night we were talking comedy and stuff. There's always something interesting to learn, and I believe it because I learn something almost every time I talk to you.
Now,
Actually,
truth be told, you do know he makes a lot of it up.
Yeah, but I'm the perfect guy for that because I'm
that was
so
the next
gullible
word
and
out of my
naive and
mouth.
stupid. So
you know
yeah.
what? You know what? Isaac Newton, the great scientist. You know,
Wasn't he famous for saying "ouch" when the apple? hit him?
when the apple hit him on the head. Yeah. You know, you could figure out gravity, but he said, "I have stood upon the shoulders of giants," and I immediately, and he did stand on the shoulders of giants. And I think comedians today need to realize that they are standing on the shoulders of the comedians that went
Yeah.
before
Fuck
them.
yeah.
Like we mentioned last night, Lenny Bruce went to jail for us so that we could use the language that we want. I'm serious. George Carlin was arrested as well for the heavy 7 words.
Oh, was
You
he?
know?
Oh, I
Yeah, he
didn't know that.
was. Yeah, he was. And comedians, earlier generations of comedians, broke down barriers and made it possible for the present to be what it is.
Right.
The present's not perfect, but still, we owe a lot to those who've gone before us. Just like Saturday Night Live owes a lot to Sid Caesar's show
Absolutely,
of
shows.
Yep.
For sure.
You know,
Right.
and
Comedy is such a strange duck, and not to be a naysayer. Did you ever get a DVD or go online and watch any of those, your show of shows?
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, my dad got
Yes.
the
They're
tapes.
unwatchable.
Well, it's like the first season. No,
It's
90 minutes.
Yeah.
There'll be
Yeah.
a 2-minute Sid Caesar bit that will destroy you.
right.
But you're watching paint
But
dry.
not if you're realizing the time and the place.
Well, that's
and
also the same
history.
thing with Saturday Night Live. That first season is almost unwatchable.
Yeah, it's pretty
They
bad.
hadn't gotten the formula down yet. Like midway through that
but,
season,
but
they
it's such
did.
a fantastic
Right.
thing, and you're talking about the creating a path, which it absolutely did. But you expect to go back, even like
Laughing.
I've talked to Gilbert about this. You just rave and rave and rave about the Marx Brothers. You could sit in front of a Marx Brothers movie for half an hour
Right.
saying, couldn't I be doing something better with
Yes.
my time? You laugh.
I was in a big room at Stony Brook with about 100 undergraduates watching Duck Soup to total stone silence.
Yeah. Right.
And the movie ended and the lights came on and a 19-year-old turns to me and goes, "Which one is Chico?" I'll never forget that. But Laugh-In, if you watch Laugh-In, which was groundbreaking, number one
sure
show
was.
in the
Right.
late 60s, it's not working in modern day terms, but it was worked for the time, and it was revolutionary for the time. And I'm going to say the most serious thing that's ever been said on this show.
8 inches.
You know what? 8 inches.
How did I know that was going?
Thomas Jefferson, you ready for this? In the Declaration of Independence said all men are created equal. And what he meant was
All
white men who own property
Right.
are created equal. And you look at that in 2023 and you go, man, that's lame. What a racist. But at the time,
Right.
it was revolutionary.
Right.
At the time, everybody was living under a dictator or a king, and the nobles and the church had special privileges. At the time, what he did was revolutionary. All right? And
See, you had to read the review about this cocksucker being passionate about history.
I am passionate
Look what
about
you
history.
you created.
Read the
this.
bad one.
You
No,
created
read the
this.
bad
I do have it. I do have
know,
it.
and I'll
Have
tell
you
you
got
something.
have you got a soapbox?
And I'll
somewhere?
tell you something. Today in 2023, we believe all people are created equal. And we've been on this journey, and that's American history.
Right.
But you have to put history in its context.
Right.
You cannot look at Laugh-In and think it should be as funny as it is in this 2023.
No, you're
It's-
absolutely right. You're
Well, see, I've
absolutely
always said the Saturday Night Live thing because it's gone through its incarnations of people
Yes.
saying it's not funny.
Right.
And it's like, well, the comedy is for the time, and maybe the time has passed you if
Yeah,
you're
I-
complaining
But all
about
that
it.
points to, which is something that can't be said enough, is how hard comedy is.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is so hard,
Right.
Yep.
so elusive, so impossible. I anytime I see anybody go on that stage, total respect, no matter who it is, how good, how bad, because it is just, you.
He's
You're
right.
putting
He-
your dick on the chopping block.
He's
even if
totally
you're a
right. And
woman.
Right.
when you watch Jackie's act, you have to put yourself in the frame of mind of 1857 because you've got to keep it in historical now. But Jackie's right. It takes guts for any comedian. Any comedian, I don't care who they are, their first time, their 5,000th time on stage.
Yeah.
It takes guts. It's,
I told Tony before that there are some comics that I'm not friends with. I don't like them personally, but if they do kill, I'm actually really happy for them.
Yeah.
No, not me.
you have to acknowledge. You have to acknowledge what they did.
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
like I
right.
like and I will I make sure that I tell them also because I think that's important. But
Yes.
it kind of blows my mind because usually I'm the kind of person like if I don't like you, I'm not going to fucking even look at you.
I enjoy people bombing more.
I do enjoy people
No,
bombing.
I
Don't get me
tell
wrong.
these stupid jokes, and I get very lucky a real lot of time. But I tell you, there's been so many times where I just want to walk up on stage during somebody's act and say, "What the fuck are you laughing at?" But meanwhile, that's my opinion. Somebody's
Right.
they're in the middle of a standing ovation.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
you know.
comedy's subjective.
What are you
But
standing up
absolutely,
for?
Every comedian bombs. It's not pleasant. In fact, it can be humiliating and painful.
Yeah.
I have seen Jerry Seinfeld bomb and come out to the bar at the comic strip and go, "I'm leaving this business. Why am I even doing this?"
Wow.
Okay, I saw Sam Kinison before 300 people to silence.
Oof.
Everybody bombs. There's no exception. But you work, and first you're bombing less, and then less, even less.
And it winds up just it puts such hair on your balls. You know?
I didn't
just-
encourage my kids to go into stand-up comedy because I didn't want them to have to face the pain of starting out. And
Right.
everybody bombs when they start out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Musicians, you can practice in your room. You can't practice in your room if you're a comedian. You need a live audience.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
You know?
And speaking of which, my friend, you totally killed last night.
Oh, thank you.
You did.
I
Yes,
appreciate
you
it.
did.
Thank you.
Well,
Tim-
why don't you say who it is?
Tim Saliani. Everybody knows who he is. Tim Saliani played in the Giggle Room last night.
Say his name again.
Tim Saliani.
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 Tim Saliani.
Tim Saliani, in case anybody missed
That
it.
is that name is anathema.
That's
It
your
is.
ex-girlfriend's name.
I would actually tease
Anathema.
her that because that is her name. So I actually used to tease her if she married Tim, she'd be Saliani. Because her middle name is Annie. Ann.
It is not.
It is. That's
You're lying now.
I thought you knew that, which is why you
gotta
said that.
pursue that.
Her
Yeah,
middle
I'm
name
all
is
over it.
Ann. So
I
Sally
saw
Annie
on
Sally
the
Annie.
web the other day. I
That's
saw
funny.
Gilbert.
She's available.
Godfrey telling what's his name, Richard Kind. Just after Gina Lollobrigida died, I guess it's this famous story I never heard, but Jack Benny was sitting in the Oscars next to George Burns or somebody, and they introduced Gina Lollobrigida, and Benny turned to George Burns and said, "I'd really like to put my cock in her mouth and have her repeat Gina Lollobrigida."
Wow. That's a great.
How great a story!
incredible.
That is. Gina
Fucking great.
Lollobrigida.
So I was hosting a show at the Treehouse in Connecticut, and in walks and sits right down front Meatloaf
Oh wow.
with his girlfriend. And I'm hosting, and the audience loves it, and he was laughing at everything. He was so nice. He was great. He was into it. He's waving at everybody. And I'm hosting, and I thought of this stupid joke, and I just said it. Do you realize that if the rock star Meatloaf married the gold medal winning gymnast Nadia Comaneci, she would be Nadia Comaneci Meatloaf. And he rolled back in his chair, almost fell off laughing at that.
That
and
is the perfect joke without him sitting there.
Yes.
Yeah.
and,
Right.
and I said, "You haven't heard that?" He goes, "No, I haven't heard that."
God, I hate to give it up for Bales.
That was good. That's a good one.
And then his girlfriend comes up to me after the show, gives me a little slip of paper, and here's Meats private number. Call up if you want to hang out.
Mr.
And
Loaf,
I never
this
did
is
because
the
I was
comedian
too
Peter
chicken to
Bales.
do it.
Really?
Her name was Meatloaf. Come and eat your girlfriend.
All right. With that, it's our time. So
Let's go eat Rita.
all right.
Oh, okay.
Jeannie's still alive. All right. We're out of here. You're playing
That means she's even older than she was the last time we were at the diner.
correct.
Wow.
All right, so you're playing
I'm
tonight
at
at the
McGuire's
Brokerage?
tonight, late show. No,
Okay.
McGuire's.
What did I say?
You've been doing that.
What did I
lately. Brokerage.
Jeez. Sorry, McGuire's. McGuire's tonight. Tim, what do you got this weekend? Anything?
I'm off this weekend, but tonight here in the Giggle Room, there's still tickets left for Carla and Mike's
the
Valentine's Day
thing.
interactive show. So go to govs.com and get that.
Now, who was that?
Carla
Keegan and
Okerson and Mike Keegan.
Mike.
Keegan.
Mike Keegan.
Keegan.
It's funny
Mike-
when you
Not Mike
no,
Keegan.
It was funny
Not
when
Mike
you
Keegan.
said that earlier. I thought, and I was going to say something to Tim later.
Mike Keegan.
Mike Keegan,
Incredibly.
yeah, I don't know if you know him. He's interchangeable with Mark Hirschman. They're the same person.
He's the Hershey and the Keegs.
Hershey and the
what you were
Keegs. We
saying.
were on that show.
You said
The
the two
two
fat
fat
guys?
guys?
Yes. It's one of he is one of the fat guys.
So I had lunch with a guy yesterday, who was a real sweetheart of a guy, Tom Ronayne, who we were supposed to do a show at the Northport Theater, whatever that's called.
Engelman.
That's Engelman's, whatever. And then the pandemic hit. So, and the guy was nice enough. He brought us in there to see this fantastic. You know, you think local theater is going to be. It was the $1 Million Quartet, and it couldn't have been better.
Oh,
on
I
Broadway.
saw that.
It was so good. So this guy, Tom Ronayne, and he goes to me, yeah, we got to put something together, and I got a lot of people want to do something. And he goes, did you ever hear of John? What's the fireman?
John
LaRocchia.
LaRocchia. John
do, you know,
LaRocchia.
do you know John LaRocchia? I said, yeah, we had him on our show this week. And he's like, what? I said, yeah, you know, we did his show, and he did our show. At the I guess it wasn't that big a coincidence, but it blew the guy's mind, you know. So we're going to be doing a show at that Northport Theater as long as you don't
Nice
say
place.
fuck.
Nice.
Peter, you were here last night as well.
I
in the
was here
big
last
room.
night.
Did you? What do you got this weekend?
This
Are you
weekend
around?
I'm involved in family activities, which
Oh, very
means
nice.
I'm not booked.
And then
And then this guy over here is...
I will be at the Triad in New York City on March 4th, which is, I guess, exciting. It's it's such a little place. There's only like 100 seats. If I can't fill it up, but I'm sure I'm going to have 3 people there, but I took the gig anyway. May 6th, me and Bales are at the Brokerage, which is always
That's gonna be fun.
great fun. And March 4th, me and Peter are at the Suffolk Theater in Riverhead. And March 24th, I'm at Dino from Uncle Vinny's Comedy Club has a new room at the American Hotel in Freehold. So God knows what that's going to entail, but he always pays you anyway. So that should be fun. And my documentary is due out any second. The lawyers have been going over it with a fine-tooth comb for 3 weeks.
Nice.
They'll be so fucking careful with the Stern Show and everything.
I hope it finally comes
But
out.
it's finally
That thing was
done.
fantastic.
It's finally coming out. It's all kinds of great intrigue, and I'm very excited about that. And
We
I've been
had-
putting jokes on TikTok, and these young kids are going wild for my jokes. Like the
Good.
20, 30, 40-year-old kids.
And most of all, we want to plug Stand Up Memories.
Of course.
And
StandUpMemories.com.
StandUpMemories.com is where you find us on all the platforms. And
who's your guest this coming Wednesday?
we're doing Patty Rossborough.
Nice.
And
She's
we're
great.
really looking forward.
We had the distinction of being the first to play the trailer to your documentary on this show.
Oh.
That was like a while ago.
It was a few years
It
ago.
was supposed to
a couple
come
years
out
ago.
10 billion years ago, and
Yeah.
then the pandemic hit. I'd like to meet the cocksucker whose idea that was. Now, when is Patty Rossborough on our
Actually,
show?
we're taping Patty Rossborough this coming week.
We are not.
Yes, we are.
Fight. Old people fight. This is awesome. Break a hip. Break his hip.
You set it up. Or somebody set it up. It's
Going
this-
for the
it's
insure
this
belt.
Monday.
This Monday?
Yeah.
Wow. What date is that?
Monday is the 13th. Day before Valentine's Day. Get that beautiful woman of yours something nice.
She's so nice,
Fuck
by the
her.
way.
She's the
Valentine's
best.
Day
So
is my
nice.
birthday.
She
Oh,
was very
that's
sweet
right.
when
It
I met
is.
her.
Happy birthday. I forgot about
Turning
that.
75 on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
You are
That's something
freaking
you
old.
Celebrate.
Yes.
Wait, are you making a joke, Bales?
No, I think we're in the studio this coming Monday.
Tell Michael I said hello.
I'm gonna run out.
This-
and
This
Michael's
Monday
in.
is
I have
Patty
a bat with
Rossborough.
barbed wire out in
Yeah.
the car. I'm gonna bring it
It's
in.
gonna be
This
awesome.
Monday is Patty
might
Rossborough.
Whoever gets to it
Confirm
first
that
is
up.
gonna win this fucking fight.
What's this?
You guys fighting.
No,
To the
don't
death.
that's
fight.
what we're currently we're running shows with Carrie Karavis that are very, very funny. She's a
She's
terrific,
the best.
terrific comedian, and
Yep.
we're going to have a show with her and her husband.
Nice.
And you know, it's
And he was great.
He was great, and Patty's great. Carrie met her husband and immediately said to him, "Do you want to have a baby?" And he said, "Well, yeah." in
Which
my
is
li-
very challenging for a Greek.
yeah,
Yes.
which is oh my god.
I know.
That's right. Yeah.
And she like the first time they met, she wanted him to
Maybe
take
some
all
will
these
leak
medical
over.
tests.
You know, you got to count on some of it leaking over.
All right, Jackie.
ATV.
Do you
Can
like?
we end strong? Let's try to end
I
strong.
thought that was
That was pretty strong.
That was
Do
pretty
you
strong.
keep him
yeah.
tame on stand-up memories? Is-
No.
How do you
Did a-
tame this?
A back handspring. It would.
We don't.
Kudos to your editor. That's all I got to say. All right, we're out of here. Let's see.
Centripetal
You guys are
force.
great. Thank you. I'm
Anytime,
I am
Peter, anytime.
super
Yeah.
happy and honored to be here. Thank
Likewise,
you. all of you. You
likewise.
guys are
Glad
great.
we got
Great.
you finally in here.
Thank you.
guys are
Absolutely.
Our pleasure. Joe, let's have lunch. I will buy.
All right.
I have an idea for a great show here at Governor's, and which could be transposed over to Brokerage and to McGuire's, and it'd be so much fun, something completely different, and we will split the proceeds. You don't have to pay me, because I got to work on an off-Broadway show with my jokes, because if I don't do them soon, I'm going to be dead. And I have such a great idea. Jokes, the off-Broadway show, starting at Governor's Comedy Club. And we'll do it on Monday night, and people pay $10, and if they tell a joke, they get $5 back. You can't beat that.
I will let him know. I will let him know.
All right.
So today is Friday. Tonight at 8:00 we got a double shot of Donversations. He's got double shot. He's got Donversations at 8. Then forgive me, I forget who the guest is, but I know the second one is with Eric Haft. So that's tonight, starting at 8:00.
Now that's in the club, or that's on this?
That's on this.
Well, it's on this. Yeah.
Oh, this is Twitch.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's on the YouTube channel. This show is on Twitch. All the other shows are still on YouTube.
Why aren't you on YouTube?
Because I'm using my show as the guinea pig to see how Twitch goes, and with the possibility of bringing all the shows
YouTube
over
after the fact.
Yes, I will put the show on YouTube in a
So
few
are they
days.
using you or are you using them?
Yes.
Let me just say this: having worked with Jackie, that when you try to wrap up a show,
trust me, I know.
Keeps you going for another 20 minutes.
Right.
Get to that next gear.
So what's the harm?
There is no
What's the
harm.
If we keep talking, we're going to get to something funny, and then we could say goodbye.
We did an impromptu live from the green room last night. We're going to edit that. We were live with it, but I'm going to edit it up and play that on Saturday.
Did I tell you my Henny Youngman joke? Did I do that already?
Yes, the Gina Lola. No, that was Jack Benny. That was Jack Benny.
There's a guy who did a movie a billion years ago, like the late 80s, long before there were DVD or anything. This guy has done so much, his resume will give you a headache. When he was 24 years old, he was the head of Imagineering for Disney, okay? Right. He's 70 years old now. He's a great character, and he's working on something with a buddy of mine out in California. And he's thinking of doing a sequel to his movie. And he made a movie in the 80s called Funny. And he lived out in the Hamptons, and he just went around videotaping his neighbors and his friends just telling a joke. I never heard of this movie before. I guess it won some awards at, I don't know if maybe there wasn't even Sundance yet. At the Cannes Film Festival, it got an honorable mention. Because his neighbors were like, Alan King and Steven Spielberg, all these different people that lived in East Hampton.
Right.
And he got like 80 different people telling a joke. I can't get a copy of the thing because it's, it was probably on VHS and you can't buy one. But there's a trailer for this show called Funny, and I watched the trailer and I saw a Henny Youngman joke that I had never heard in my life, which I didn't think could exist. And we will say goodbye with this joke.
Okay.
Even if you don't think it's funny.
All right, let me just interrupt real quick. Monday, we'll be back here. Nigel Fullerton and Francesco Caputo, comedians, will be here with us. Go ahead.
This is Henny Youngman's unheard joke. A blind crook. Stick 'em up. Are they up?
So stupid. It's just so stupid, but it's
the greatest joke.
Telling all your friends the party never ends.